Welcome back. It's time for TechBase. Now, this year spelled major changes for the banking sector, the arrival of new entrants hoping to disrupt the industry. Although the Big Four will not immediately feel the heat from new entrants, analysts say their arrival is good news for customers at every level of the market. The digital newcomers, Tyme Digital, Bank Zero and Discovery Bank, are promising lower fees, better interest rates for savers, and simpler, more transparent products. On TechBase tonight, we're joined by Tyme Bank's Cheslyn Jacobs, who's Head of Sales and Service. A very good evening. And thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
So obviously we're entering the digital age, so it's a no-brainer why online banking. But is it the right way to go, given the fact that there already was the first digital bank that obviously collapsed 2020?
Yeah. So it's interesting to be so. I mean, we think it's the right way to go. It's we've spent lots of hard years doing our research to make sure we're doing the right thing for customers, and I think the South African consumer is changing quite rapidly. You know, we've got mobile penetration in the country increasing on a daily basis. Information's been spread more widely across the country, a lot easier than it ever was before. And I just think with the South African population getting younger and younger, I think consumers want choice. They want things that are different from the way they always have been. They want things that are simpler, more transparent, things they can understand a lot easier. And I think why not be the same with your money matters? So we definitely think it's the right way to go.
But what lessons do you think could have been learned from failed attempts by 2020, for instance?
So I think timing is an important thing. Firstly, timing is an important thing. So Tyme Bank in itself has a long history of trying to do something very similar in previous attempts. I think timing's the one important thing, and also just understanding what your customer wants. And I think, like I said, as the consumer's changing quite rapidly in South Africa, getting younger, getting more tech savvy, you know, and I think they want things that are different. They've become very value sensitive. I think they want things that make sense for them, things that they can see help them into the future. And that's why I think the timing's spot on now. I think the African consumer's been asking for something different. I think we're providing them that, and I think, as you mentioned earlier, with the new incumbents, they'll get more of the same, and I think choice gives consumers in South Africa that power.
So who specifically are you targeting? Do you have a specific economic rung of the population that you're targeting?
It's a popular question. So in our business, what we normally say, we've got this thing we live by, and it's called our design manifesto. And what we always say in there is we design for the 80%, not for the 0.08%. But on top of that, we design for what we think are the underserved, but we'll attract the overserved. And when we design our products and services, this is what we keep in the back of our mind. So we don't target a very specific customer segment per se. We believe we've created enough value in our offering that will appeal to many South Africans, your average South African. With the amount of value in there across the spectrum, we believe we can add value to everybody.
So as you say, you're looking at the 80%, but it's the 20% of the market that are profitable, and typically the established banks are certainly going to try very hard to hold on to them. You know.
Yeah, that's exactly the challenge we have, I suppose. But also being the first digital bank to kind of launch in the country, I think that's a great challenge for us to have as well. So obviously, being a digital bank as well, our operating models, our cost structures are way different to that of traditional banks. We've got no existing revenue streams to protect. We've got no existing customer base to cannibalize. And the fact that we've got this plain piece of paper in front of us allows us to be very innovative and disruptive in the way we do these things. You know, so I think what has been informing a lot of what set of customers become profitable with the bank is purely the cost base they work off. So ours is fundamentally different, and what that allows us to do is to pass those savings on to customers.
So not having to deal with the branch infrastructure, for instance, is where you're hoping to make the savings, but how are you going to pass that on to the customers?
Absolutely. So as you know, we've partnered with Pick n Pay and Boxer, one of the largest retailers in the country, big brands. You know, they've got massive brand power. So by association, we kind of inherit some of that, which is great. But more importantly, that gives us massive presence across the country. So our Tyme Bank kiosks are available in almost 600 of these Pick n Pay and Boxer stores across the country, and we're trying to increase that number to about 700 by the end of April. So that gives us great presence. We think gone are the times where customers want brick and mortar owned structures by traditional banks. And like you rightfully mentioned, those things are the ones that are cost heavy. They're expensive to establish, they're expensive to maintain, they're expensive to run. the fact that we've got Pick n Pay and Boxer gives us a similar size network essentially overnight.
So do you gain smart shopper points on your bank card, but can you use it outside of Pick n Pay?
Absolutely. So that's one of the biggest value drivers in the offering at the moment. We've partnered with Pick n Pay in the smart shopper program. So customers who use their Tyme bank card as their smart shopper card and pay for their groceries inside Pick n Pay will earn double smart shopper points. More importantly, for the first time ever, you can now earn smart shopper points for spend outside of the Pick n Pay environment. So customers will earn 1 smart shopper point for every 3 rand spent outside of Pick n Pay's environment.
So I want to talk about the integrated banking solution products that some of the other banks are offering. Customers are typically willing to pay for something that they believe is worthwhile, as you say. But you mentioned that you're going to be innovative with your cost structure. Take us through what you're thinking about, especially if we're looking at integrated banking.
So what we've launched as the initial offering to consumers is a everyday account with a goal save embedded savings tool in there. We believe we've got the cheapest bank account in the country. If we go by some of the bank charges report that's quite popular in the country, we come in at about almost 50% cheaper than the current market leader.
So just give us some figures.
We've kept it very simple. It's either free, 2 rand, 4 rand, or 8 rand transactions are, with a large portion of the transactions being free. You can even withdraw cash at Pick n Pay and Boxer tills free of charge, which is quite popular with our customers today.
When does it cease being free?
No, never. So our cost structure, our cost base is what it is today. It doesn't incrementally grow as our customer base grows. I think that's the other benefit of being a digital bank, is that our cost to acquire a customer is substantially lower than that of traditional banks, we believe. So increase in our customer number doesn't necessarily mean our cost base increases relative to customer numbers. So we believe we can keep that price for a long, long time.
So do you believe that the pricing battle for services typically impacts on the client acquisitions? Is it?
Absolutely, I think that it's one element. We also believe that customers become value sensitive. So our everyday account gives you exactly what most other bank accounts do give you at a much lower price. So the nice thing is consumers now have choice. They can choose whether they believe Tyme Bank provides or gives value to them. We believe lots of customers will choose that. South Africans have responded extremely positively to date. We've got over 110,000 customers already. February was our biggest month by far. We think we'll top that in March. So South Africans are responding extremely well to what we put out there at the moment.
So transactional account for low income accounts, especially the pricing battle, seems to be, drawing customers or pulling them away from certain banks. How are you going to tackle that? Well,
so again, we believe we've got a offering packed with value, is that we haven't seen anything in the market that can beat us on a price perspective.
But you've got new entrants that are coming in later on in the year.
So again, so remember, choice is important. So we're actually excited about them coming into the market. South Africa's got a very mature banking market. It's been dominated by very few players for a very, very long time. So consumers have very limited choice then. We're also all about access and affordability for our customers. We want consumers to be able to choose which institution they believe can best help them achieve their financial goals. And if that be the 2 banks that are coming down the line, great. That's important for South Africans, I believe. On top of that, we've added a great savings product, we think, which is gaining massive traction at the moment. Customers are loving it. You can earn up to 10% interest on your savings in a very short space of time. And customers are appreciating that value and are responding well.
Let's talk about access. I mean, convenience cannot be undermined. Hello Peso of Cheslyn, for instance, they're going to go to their customers to register them. Do you not think that that's something that would do?
Absolutely. So the Hello Peso Cheslyn partnership is an interesting one. We read about it a couple of days ago. So we're keen to see what happens in that world. But again, they have a very niche customer base historically, and it'll be interesting to see how they grow.
So you don't think there'll be competition?
Absolutely. Everybody's competition. Those the ones that are in the market already. We've just entered the Hello Peso Cheslyn collaboration will definitely be competition. And then, as you mentioned, the 2 banks that are due to launch later this year will definitely be competition as well. But I think that's important. That's what keeps businesses on their toes. And like I said, once we give consumers choice, our jobs as businesses would then be to make sure when a customer makes that selection, they choose us because we've given them the most value.
So what other products are you looking at introducing further down the...
So right now, just the transactional and savings account. Later this year, we'll be looking at doing some credit-based products. So things like credit cards and potentially personal loans. So that works.
Home loans,
no, so
car finance.
Home loans, car finance, not on the immediate roadmap. We also have a partnership business model, so we rely heavily on partners. So again, Pick n Pay Boxer being the anchor partner in that. If customers start demanding that of us, we must probably go and find a partner who could do that, who specializes in that business. We want to keep our business clean, simple, transparent for customers to understand. And we'll partner with the appropriate
What about social? I mean, obviously the whole, in the South African context, issue about banking has been those who've been left out of access to finance. How are you going to bridge that gap?
So again, so our onboarding process is revolutionary. We believe we're confident say it takes less than 5 months to become a Tyme Bank customer. More important.
Where can you go? Just very quickly.
Yeah, so at just under 600 Pick n Pay Boxer stores across the country, you'll walk into a store and you'll see this beautiful black and yellow Tyme Bank kiosk. And that's the device you use to become a Tyme Bank customer, completely paperless. All you need is your thumbprints and your cell phone number. No IDs, no proof of address. Under 5 minutes, you'll walk away with a personalized Visa debit card that works like any other bank card in the country. We've timed it. The fastest time on record is 2 minutes, 45 seconds. And we consistently beat the 5-minute mark. So again, revolutionary from a traditional perspective. And that's what we think customers are responding well.
So if I wanted to access credit services, then what is the process?
So right now, we don't offer any credit services. So you obviously use those that exist in the market at the moment. We will be offering it later this year. And again, the same way we become a Tyme Bank customer, it will be a disruptive process to become a lending customer of ours as well. So that's a big part of our business, being different, being disruptive, changing the way things are normally done. We like to see ourselves as defining the new normal.
So let's look at prospects for growth. I mean, typically the established banks, their growth statistics have been less than stellar. Are you hoping to get into the double digits anytime within the next 5 years?
So like I said, we've got over 110,000 customers already. Customers are responding really well. We think we'll be on par with what other banks are doing on a monthly basis pretty soon. So growing really, really fast. And again, with our low cost base, we think we'll be in the double digits pretty soon.
All right, thank you very much for speaking to us. A very confident Cheslyn Jacobs of Tyme Bank. That's Tech Base today. Thank you so much for joining us. And sports news now with Tabitha Stoll.